Stefanos Tsitsipas goes back to back. He has won Monte Carlo in 2 consecutive years. He joins a little bit of a list as well. Nadal on that list, of course, of people who have managed to win it in consecutive years. A really impressive feat from the Greek player. And he came up against a determined Spaniard in Davidovich Fokina, who's beaten some fantastic players on the way, as we discussed in the preview. But it was, I think, just a step too far for the Spaniard. Tsitsipas played some good tennis for sure, especially in that first set. In the second set, it was definitely tighter. And we'll go into exactly what happened in some of the matchups that maybe I discussed earlier in the preview and where they came to fruition as well. But a very, very good win for Tsitsipas and a fantastic start to the clay court season, a surface that, of course, he is the most comfortable on. For Davidovich Fokina, it's a step in the right direction. The 22-year-old is still young, and he'll be looking to try and join those people like Tsitsipas, Zverev, right, who are maybe a year or so older than him, and try and win his Masters title or a big title as soon as possible, because he's definitely got the talent. But I think the biggest thing for me, the gap between the two was the serve. For me, it was the biggest gap in, I guess, skill level. Tsitsipas' first serve, he managed to get a lot of free points, or points where he was just on the front foot from the word go, especially with the serve 1+ shot, where, more often than not, it was a forehand that he was able to cannon back into play. Whereas for Davidovich Fokina, he, at one point in that first set, I think, or towards the back end, they showed a stat of how many shots they've had to hit on both wings. Davidovich Fokina was hitting 52% of his ground strokes as backhands. So he was hitting backhands. He was hitting more backhands than forehands in rallies. For Tsitsipas, he was hitting over 70% of ground strokes as forehands. So he was only having to hit 29% of backhands. It almost half the amount of backhands, right? Percentage-wise. So I think that shows, one, of course, the superior, I think, movement around the backhand that Tsitsipas has. It's one of the best, I think, on tour, to be fair, to Davidovich Fokina. But secondly, I think as well how well Tsitsipas was able to access the forehand so quickly after the serve. The serve was giving him those shorter balls, all those slower returns to be able to make them into forehands. And then on return as well, I think it might be a block forehand, but then Davidovich Fokina wasn't doing quite well enough to access that backhand. You really have to push him either at an angle or deep enough to that backhand corner to force him to hit a backhand. Otherwise, as I said, he's just so good at being able to maneuver it into a forehand. So definitely something that Davidovich Fokina would have thought of after that first set. And then he did implement it in the second set. He really did, I thought. And the serve, of course, still wasn't getting 3 points from it. And I think that's a big area for improvement. I think on average, I think Stefanos Tsitsipas was hitting around 120 mile per hour serves, and Davidovich Fokina around the 106 mark, 105 mark. Of course, there will be quite a few kick serves because it's a clay surface, but to have a 15 mile per hour difference in first serve speed is big. Of course, you need to hit your spots, which he did at times, the Spaniard. Tsitsipas isn't the best returner either on tour. There's been question marks around his return game, but he was able to make a lot of returns. So, in fact, we can just go into those stats and then I guess back it up with the match stats. So, only one ace for Davidovich Fokina, one double fault, 3 aces for Tsitsipas, 1 double faults, but a lot of unreturns, I tell you. First serve percentage, very good from both 76% and 74%. But look at this. First serve points won, 71% for Tsitsipas, which is solid, very, very solid. For Davidovich Fokina, 52%, that's way too low. On second serve, 50% to 56%, so pretty similar. Break point saved, 1 out of 4, 2 out of 6 for Davidovich Fokina. And yeah, look at his return points won, 66% for Tsitsipas. That's way too high. 47%. Almost half the amount of points he was winning on Davidovich Fokina's serve. It's way too high. So yeah, definitely something for him to improve on. He'll need to bulk that up for sure to, I think, take his game to the next level. But there were some fantastic rallies at times. He really is a phenomenal athlete, the Spaniard. He tracks down balls left, right, center, utilized a drop shot quite well at times. I think hit 3 or 4 drop shot winners as well, managing to push Tsitsipas back at times, which is fantastic to see. The forehand to forehand exchanges was really entertaining. Tsitsipas, though, still finding those better angles on the forehand, putting Davidovich Fokina into slightly uncomfortable position, and just not having, I guess, the success he would have expected to or would have wanted to on that forehand side. But something he utilized really well was the backhand on the line. When Tsitsipas would approach the net, he hit quite a few winners passing Tsitsipas, the Greek's outstretched arm anyway, which is really, really impressive. So for me, extremely, extremely good from Stefanos Tsitsipas. He didn't have to play his best tennis, that's for sure. It wasn't a classic final, but there were some bits, especially in that second set, where you just thought this is quality tennis. Tsitsipas was serving for the championship at 5-4 as well. Davidovich Fokina broke him back with some inspired tennis and some good defense from Tsitsipas, having to make him play multiple overheads. But Davidovich Fokina, very cool, putting them away very nicely. And then he would have been a bit disappointed because at 6-5 up, he had 30 love on Tsitsipas's serve, but then just his level dropped slightly in that game, took it to a tiebreaker, and then didn't have a particularly good tiebreaker. Tsitsipas just doing too much. So, I mean, he'll be disappointed because in the second set he played a lot better. He managed to access the backhand a lot more. He was forcing Tsitsipas to hit more backhands by either hitting the into-out forehand at an angle or flatter or just deeper into that corner, or similarly his backhand is all the same, and he's really trying to rip it cross court, try and drag Tsitsipas out, make him hit a backhand, and that was a big, big difference in that second set, and that's why it was so much tighter. So something for him to learn from, especially if he does come up against Tsitsipas at some point in the future. But for Tsitsipas, something as well for him to work on. I think, to be fair to him, when it really mattered in the tiebreakers, he came up with some fantastic backhands, especially passing shots and some winners as well, to be fair to him. But something that he can work on in terms of consistency. On the clay, it can be hidden a little bit because of his fantastic movement around the backhand, and even just the fact that he's got more time on that side to swing and kind of just really tee up that backhand. But it's something that I think he needs to still improve on. Just hit as many balls as possible on the backhand side and really shore it up as we get into more of the clay court swing. Utilizing that slice well as on the backhand is definitely an improved shot from Tsitsipas. And Davidovich Fokina didn't necessarily take too well to the change up when Tsitsipas was slicing, something he utilized well against Zverev as well. So a good win for the Greek. He goes on and he definitely has momentum, doesn't he? And he'll go into Barcelona, which will be, I think it's next week or the week after, as one of the favorites after, of course, making the final there last year against Rafa Nadal. But no Nadal this year. Alcaraz is in the field, but Tsitsipas will be the favorite, no doubt. That's all from me. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. Please remember to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Really do appreciate your support. Thanks to those who joined the live stream as well and the watch along for the match. We will be doing more of those and, of course, more post-match and previews as well, of course, on top of doing some more collaborations with other channels and reporters, pundits, etc. If you do also like football and you're interested in football content, we have a separate channel called QualityShot Football. Do check it out and subscribe if it's of interest to you. Thanks very much, guys. Stay safe and well, and I'll see you